morning, everyone. It's Joni here at Joni's Journals. How are you today? I'm doing fairly well. I would like to introduce you to a few friends of mine. This is Miss Rose. This is Mr. Anton. Let me move my light back. Okay, this is Mr. Anton. This is Miss Elsbeth. And this is Miss Dahlia. Okay, what we are here to do today, and I hope that you won't all go, oh, and run away and think that this is impossible and you don't want to do it. We are going to make some art dolls. Now, I have been reading a book, and I'm not going to show it on camera because I'm not too sure about the copyright. But it's a book called Artful Paper Dolls, and it was put together by someone called Terry Taylor. The book was published, I believe, in 2006. I got mine on Thrift Books. I was looking for interesting art books, and this one is one that I stumbled across, and I said, wow, that'd be really cute. Let's make some paper dolls. Mind you, I have had this book for, I want to say, probably about 3 years now, and I haven't really approached the subject, at least on video. Okay. This is a lot easier than it looks, and I am going to show you Miss Rose, but I am going to take off her skirt first. I know that probably seems a little bit rude, but Miss Rose was sitting on my desk looking exactly as she looks now for a few days because I really hadn't given Miss Rose any clothing and I hadn't really done too much with her other than just creating her. Now, what I did with her was I made her little arms and I made her little legs. And you can see they're all moving around. And she was created using paper fasteners and just my own design. Yesterday, I decided that Miss Rose was a little naked. And so I created a simple little skirt out of an old napkin. And I used some Velcro and all sorts of things. Some little daisy trim that I had from years ago, and I gave Miss Rose a skirt. How I attached her skirt, I know I'm kind of out of order, was I put a piece of Velcro on her back, I put a piece of Velcro onto her little lace trim with another piece of Velcro on the back of it, and then I put another piece of Velcro, and I quickly created her skirt. We're not going to make clothes today. I may show you how I also created this pair of pants for Mr. Anton. It was a very simple thing. I traced it on some paper and I just attached it to him using paper fasteners. But as you can see, Mr. Anton can be very quickly undressed as well. And I'll show you his body. His pants are just attached with some paper fasteners. And you know what? I'll probably show you how to do this too, depending on how quickly we move along through the video. And here's Mr. Anton. Mr. Anton is fully animated, and by that I mean his hands move and his little feet move, because I wanted to have two different ways to show you how to create the doll. Okay, there we go. Let's take off Rose's skirt. You can see Rose has an arm with her hand attached, and her little feet are buttons. These are some options that I'm going to give you when we create the dolls, because it depends on how involved in creating the doll you actually want to be. Miss Elsbeth also has movable hands and movable feet. I'll just pull her little legs out from behind her skirt. Okay. And again, I created a little paper skirt for her, which I attached using paper fasteners because I wanted it to be an option whether or not I wanted to be able to actually play with her and change her clothes. And you can see that very simply we can reverse Mr. Anton's pants by just turning the paper over, putting our little paper fasteners in the other way, and like so. Let's grab Mr. Anton. And now Mr. Anton can be wearing a pair of yellow pants instead of the other pants that he had on before. Okay? Like so. Okay? Just going to put Mr. Anton to the side. Miss Dahlia here, who is dressed in her beautiful flowing lace skirt, also has movable hands. Okay. But if you pick up her dress, I'm sorry, Miss Dahlia, you will see that she has buttons 4 feet. Okay? I've been sitting and I've been playing, making these for the past few days when I was home from work and late into the evening on Friday because I knew I wanted to make this video. And so, yeah, I've been just changing the different ways that I do it. You can see Anton's hands are the same color as his arms, although his shoes are a different color. And Miss Elsbeth is wearing little blue gloves, okay, on her hands, and also wearing some gray shoes. Okay, I hope I haven't made it seem that this is very difficult to create, because I really want us to have some fun today. I am trying to find some place to put all of my little friends, and I think they will be quite safe over on that side of my desk. Now, what I have done is I have pulled out another one of Tim Holtz's portraits, and I am naming this cute little lady Charlene, okay? And Charlene is the one that I'm going to show you how to create the dolls with. Now, there's a lot of information on this page, and I'm going to put it aside for now so that I can show you how to make the doll, and we'll get back to all of this stuff after we've created her. My original dolls were made on craft stock because I had a lot of it laying around, and I just figured that I might as well use that in lieu of using other paper. But then I realized that you really can't see anything on the craft stock. So this morning, I pulled out my heavyweight white cardstock. You can use whatever kind of cardstock you want to use to create your doll. It doesn't really matter. All of this stuff in the end is going to kind of disappear once you add some clothing. But you do want to create the doll. You could even use lightweight paper. You do want to create the doll's body, arms, and legs, and all sorts of things on a piece of plain cardstock so that you're not ruining a good piece of decorative cardstock in the event that you make a mistake. All right, so I do recommend it. That's my very first recommendation, is take a piece of plain cardstock. If you have a bunch of scraps laying around that are all, usable for this, you can do that on there too. Although I do prefer to work on only one sheet of cardstock because it makes it a lot easier when you're trying to measure to make your arms and your legs. All right. Your doll is not going to necessarily be anatomically correct, and I am not going to sit here and try to teach you, give you a, a an anatomy lesson, okay? I'm just going to show you how to do this the way that I do it. Now I'm working again around my tripod, so I'm going to pull everything over a little bit to the right because I am a righty, and I'm going to ask you to please ignore the glare, if you can, on little Miss Charlene. Your very first step in doing this is, well, let me give you your supply list because I did write all of that stuff down. What you're going to need is is a head of some sort. If you have a magazine, and you say a fashion magazine, and you can manage to cut out a head from an advertisement, that would be great. If you have a printable and you have a printable of a person or a dog or a cat, you could do it for anything you like. I guess a cat head would be really cute too. I just don't have any of those available. But you are going to need a head, okay? You're going to need a plain piece of cardstock for tracing. You're going to need a decorative piece of cardstock for clothing. And this is the piece that I have picked out for Miss Charlene. It's a piece of Tim Holtz. Excuse me. It's a piece of Tim Holtz backdrop. My particular pieces that I have been using are from the Tim Holtz Backdrops Volume 2. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I just have a feeling that our lighting is really bad. And I want to move my light forward because I want you to be able to see everything. So Miss Charlene's probably going to glare more now that I've got the light over us. All right, so you're going to need a piece of cardstock for clothing. This is the one I've chosen. You're going to need some glue. I have my PVA glue. You're going to need a pencil and an eraser, or a pencil with an eraser if you happen to have that. I also have my handy dandy little Statler eraser. You're going to need, let me take a sip of coffee. Okay, sorry about that. I had this whole video rehearsed in my head. And I knew where I was going to start, and I made all my notes, and now I'm losing my voice. Okay, you're going to need a pair of scissors. I am actually using two. I have my regular size scissors, and I have my tiny little, I call them my sewing scissors, but I also use these little scissors to cut in fine areas when I'm cutting stuff out. You're going to need 2 buttons for shoes, and I have those here, because I will show you how to add the buttons, because for those of you who are going to say you can't draw, you can use buttons for feet, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? And then you're going to need 12 to 14 paper fasteners. Now, I haven't pulled mine out yet. I thought I did have them on my desk, so I know that I'm going to have to make some breaks once I start doing this. But this is a little, plain old paper fastener. I think mine, this one is about, it's about a 1/2 inch long. You can use bigger, you can use smaller. This is the best size that I've been using. I'll try and link where I got them in the description box below, but I don't really know, I don't remember where they're from, but I will find some for you. Okay, so you need a head, plain cardstock for tracing, cardstock for clothing, glue. I'm using my wet PVA glue. I wouldn't recommend using glue stick. I just don't think that that's the medium that's going to work for us. You need pencil and eraser, or a pencil with an eraser, a pair of scissors, and perhaps a smaller, delicate pair for any fine cutting you might want to do. 2 buttons for shoes if you're going to use the buttons. I will show you how to draw them. And 12 to 14 paper fasteners, okay? Depending on how you're going to create your body, that will determine how many paper fasteners you're going to need. All right, let's get started. Now, I have the Tim Holtz portraits, and they're what I have been using all along. Let me just grab the dolls back out. Whoop. Here's Miss Dahlia is one of the portraits. And again, you can see here Miss Elsbeth is a portrait. and so on and so forth. I'm not going to grab them all back out again. The way I'm showing you how to do this works with the portrait heads. If you don't have the portrait heads and you use some other kind of head, you can still adapt it to work the same way that I'm doing it. Let's get started. Excuse me. All right. We take our portrait head, and what you want to do is you want to trace around her shoulders, okay? You trace around her shoulders, and you go all the way down and around. That's going to create a base for Charlene's torso. All right, so I generally start tracing around her neck, and I go all the way around and down, okay? Then what I do, because I want Charlene's body to look somewhat normal, shall we say? I hate to use that word. I bring my pencil and I bring her arms over a little bit here underneath, and I'll explain to you why, okay? Her whole body is not, her whole torso is not surrounding her arms. Although you could do it that way, because if you take a look at Miss Dahlia, I created her body just simply by making a very large frame for her based on the size of her shoulders. I'm hoping this is not getting too confusing. I didn't want it to be. So I bring her arms in just a little because we want to kind of give Miss Charlene a nice little shape, okay? Starting from approximately where her arms are ending, you want to bring down her body, okay? So I'm just going to make a little kind of semicircle here, okay? And that will be her upper body. Now, because Charlene is a lady, she does have a little bit of a figure, so you want to kind of round out the sides to make the lower half of her body. Now, if we remove Miss Charlene, that's what it looks like. Okay, you have her shoulders, her arms, and the rest of her torso. Okay? Let me grab Charlene back again and put her back in place. Now, as soon as you have made her torso, I want you to label it. Okay? And we're going to write torso. You can see on here that I have labeled all the parts of my body. Now, in the end, when we begin cutting everything apart, this is going to save your sanity, all right? Although you're not going to forget that this is her torso, I'm just labeling everything, okay? So there we have Charlene's torso. Now, to save Charlene, so that she doesn't get written on or damaged in any way, I'm going to put her to the side. Now, this is where the anatomy lesson that I'm not going to give you is going to come into play. If you stand up and you leave your arms hanging at a length, you're going to know that your arms are going to touch your upper part of your legs, okay? So what you want to do, because you also know, I'm bringing Charlene back, these are her shoulders, and this is where her arm begins. Let's leave her here. We're going to make her arms based on where her arm actually begins. So we're going to draw an arm right next to her body. Okay? Now, don't be alarmed. I know this may look a little bit difficult, but all you're going to do is you're going to make an oval. Okay? That's going to be her upper arm. Okay? Then what you're going to do, don't be alarmed again, is you're going to make another oval, and you're going to bring it down below her tushy. Okay, this is her tushy, to about where her legs will begin. This is her lower arm. Okay, now for all of you who said in the beginning you're not going to be able to do this, this is how hard it is. You're making a bunch of ovals. her body could be the most difficult part. In the event that you didn't want to waste your time making her shapely, you could, and I'm just going to do this just to show you, make her whole body like that. Okay? It doesn't really matter. In the end, you can make your body whatever way you want. If you want her to be an easy thing to draw and you just want to give her a big round circle as a body, or if you decide you want to make her a little bit shapely, that's what I did to Elsbeth. This is Miss Elsbeth. I kind of made her a little bit shapely. Miss Rose, on the other hand, came out kind of weird. You can see Miss Rose is just odd shaped, but I could have very simply made her just a big circle as well. Okay? So don't get upset and think that you're not going to be able to draw this. All right? So here's Charlene with both of her bodies, the big round circle or the shapely torso. Now, in the event that you want to give her hands, separate hands, you could just go like this and make a circle. It's your doll. You can do whatever you want, but I'm going to show you an easy way. See, I have my eraser on my pencil, but I'm using my separate eraser anyway. To make her hand, you're just going to go like this. You're going to go down, and you're going to go around, and you're going to make almost a complete oval, but you're going to stop, because then you want to give her a little thumb. All right, there is her hand, okay? And we are going to make this her left hand, okay? You'll know why in the end. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to make her legs. Now again, we're not going to freak out because all we're doing is making another oval. Now, you could stand up and measure your legs if you want. I don't really care. I know that your upper leg might be a little longer than your lower leg. Doesn't matter. It's a doll. Okay. We're going to label this your upper leg. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make your lower leg. Okay. So now we have your lower leg. I'm just going to write low. Now, you could stop at this point if you're just going to use buttons for feet. I'm going to show you how I very poorly draw a foot because I'm not very good at drawing feet. I'm going to make a straight line, okay? I'm going to bring you down just a smidgen, just so you can see perhaps a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to make a straight line, like so. I'm going to make a straight line, and I'm going to make a straight line. And that's her ankle. I'm going to round it out a little bit. Okay. Kind of make it look like a bottle if you were drawing a bottle. That's her heel. Okay. We're going to bring her heel across like so. Okay. And then we're going to bring her heel up. All right. I don't draw feet very well. My art teachers in school used to laugh at me. But this is how I know how to do it. And in this situation, because the doll is not realistic, it works. Now you have your heel. You're going to bring a little rounded part out like so. Okay, let me move Charlene. I'm going to bring this closer to the camera so maybe you can see a little bit better. I'm hoping you can. I'm going to bring this here. You have your straight line and her ankle, her little heel, heel up, round out. Okay, it's kind of like an upside down U in a sense. All right. Then from the rounded edge, you're going to bring out another flat line. Okay, that's the sole of her shoe. Okay, so now you have your heel and the sole of her shoe. You're going to round out a little bit like so. Okay, I'm going to bring this closer here. You're going to round out a little bit here. And that's her arch. Once you've done rounding out your arch, you're going to go and you're going to make it flat again, and you're going to round it down, and you're going to make her toe. That is probably the best shoe you will ever see come out of me, because that's the only way I know how to make a shoe. Okay? Now you'll notice that we only drew one upper arm, one lower arm, one hand, one upper leg, one lower leg, and one foot. You're going to go and you're going to cut all of this stuff out, okay? And when you're done cutting it out, you're going to have, let me just move Miss Charlene. I've already begun using some of my little pieces to do tracing, so I only have a few of them left, okay? But so you're going to have to kind of imagine, because I didn't want to make this a 4-day long video. You're going to have pieces that look like this. You're going to have your upper arm. You're going to have your lower arm, okay? You're also going to have an upper leg and a lower leg. You're going to have a hand and a foot, okay? It is very important, and I can't stress this enough, in order to prevent any accidents, because I have actually reversed an upper arm with an upper leg, and then my doll just looked really weird, which I guess is okay, because like I said before, it's not realistic. Label them, okay? Label your torso too. I'll explain to you why in a few minutes. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your pieces, and I'm going to show you with my upper arm and my lower arm, and you're going to trace them. All right? And by doing this, you are going to create your second arm and your second leg. Once again, label it, upper arm, okay? And you're going to do that with all your little pieces for your upper arm, upper leg, and lower leg, and create your second set for your body. Now, in the case of your hand and your foot, you're going to trace them on the reverse. So here you can see the thumb is to the left. You're going to turn your hand over and put your thumb to the right. And I know you really can't see it anymore, so let me show you again. Here is your thumb to the left. You're going to turn it over, and you're going to put your thumb to the right. Because if you, again, stand up and hang your arms relaxed at your sides, you're going to find that your right arm, your right hand rather, your right thumb is going to point to the left, and your left thumb is going to point to the right, because this is the natural way that your hands look, okay? So you want your thumbs on opposite sides. So now you have a right hand and you have a left hand, okay? I'm just going to put my hand up here with my arms. Now, same falls true for your feet. Not that you stand with your feet pointed out like a duck, but you want your set of toes on the right for one foot and a set of toes on the left for the other foot, okay? So here's your foot. You're going to turn it over and you're going to trace it in the opposite direction. Again, I know this is really hard to see, but I'm just going to trace around my foot, and you'll notice that this foot looks nothing like the foot we just drew, because nothing ever comes out the same way twice. And this is why I'm saying, do not get upset if your things don't look exactly like mine, or if they don't look exactly the same every time you make a doll. All right, so now what I can show you is, here is my right hand, and here is my left hand. Okay, you can see, and they're even different sizes. And how that happened, I guess it's just from tracing. Again, it doesn't matter. Your body is not the same on both sides. Here's my left foot, and here's my right foot. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to create your torso. You're going to create one set for your arm, one set for your legs, one foot, one hand. All right? Now, you go along and you cut out all that stuff, and I will be back in a second to show you what we do next. Okay? I'll see you in a few minutes. And we're back. Okay. I have taken a second for a breather and gathered my thoughts because I just feel like I didn't do as great a job on the first part of the video as I would have liked. And so I hope you all stuck around for the second part. All right. Now that you have all of your little pieces cut out, you're going to pick out the piece of decorative cardstock that you would like to use for your body. And this is the one that I have chosen. Now, in the event that you want your feet and your hands to be a different color, and I'll grab back Miss Elsbeth, she has little blue gloves. Now, again, if you look, my cutting and my drawing are not perfect, so please don't shy away from this. It's a lot of fun. Her hands are blue, okay, and her little feet, which you can see here, are gray. Okay, and what I did was I simply just took a couple of pieces of scrap cardstock that I had laying around, and this is textured cardstock. I don't really know if you can see the difference. One side is flat and the other one has a little bit of a texture. I wanted the texture to show. So what I did was I glued her feet or her shoes down to the cardstock, and this might seem a little bit boring, but I'll just give you a quick little thing about doing this. Always glue your pieces with the descriptive side facing up, okay? It doesn't matter what your doll looks like on the back. This is going to save your sanity, and that's why you labeled everything, okay? I'm going to glue her feet down to the piece of gray cardstock. Be sure to get the glue on the outer edges. You don't want her feet to come apart from the cardstock. And you can see I just put a little bit too much glue. And so I'm going to grab my little wipe and I'm just going to wipe the glue away. Again, this is going to be on the back of your doll, so it doesn't really matter. And here's where I labeled this her right shoe. I want that part to show up, so I'm going to glue on to the back of her shoe, like so. Are you even seeing this? Yes, you are. And I'm going to lay her shoe down, okay? And you really only need a little piece of cardstock for this. And then I'm going to do the same thing with her hands. I'm going to put that aside to dry. You see I have her right hand. Again, we're going to give Miss Charlene some blue gloves. Okay, I'm just going to glue her hand down. Okay, and I'm going to glue the other hand down. I know this is boring, but it's important so that you remember to glue your little doll parts down with the description side facing up. Okay, and so I'm just going to wipe the excess glue off, and there we go. We have her hands and her feet glued down. Now, as I said, this is the piece of decorative cardstock that I wanted to use for Miss Charlene's body. So in order for this part to show, I have to glue her pieces onto the back. Now you can see every single one of my pieces has its description facing up. Okay, it's going to be very helpful in the end when you put Miss Charlene together that you know which part is which. Now, if you're using a fancy cardstock, if you're using the Tim Holtz cardstock and you don't want to waste it, quote unquote, I am gluing my pieces close together down here on the bottom, okay? And I'm trying to keep everything in one area so that I will have this whole upper half of cardstock left when I'm done to use for another project. Now again, on the arms and the legs, put glue on the outside, okay? And just wipe off the excess glue and glue your pieces down with the descriptive side facing up, okay? Now I'm going to change the rules. When we traced Miss Charlene, you can see that her shoulders and her neck fit onto her torso only in one direction. Now, in order to prevent any problems, although you could trim it after, when you want to add her torso to the decorative cardstock, and in order to keep her torso in line with her pre-existing shoulders, you're going to have to glue your torso upside down, okay? Because when you cut it all out and you glue Miss Charlene to her body, you want to have her glued to the decorative side. So in essence, this is going to be your decorative side, okay? So glue your torso onto your decorative paper upside down, all right? I'm going to just do that now while I also tell you one other thing that may or may not be important to you. If you are using directional paper, and you want all of your little pieces parts to be facing in the proper direction, you're going to need to be aware of the direction that your paper is facing in. And for that, I'm going to bring over Mr. Anton, okay? Oh, that's not Anton, that's Elsbeth. And that's Rose. Okay. Come here, Anton. All right. For Mr. Anton, and I'm just going to take his pants off again. I'm sorry, Mr. Anton. I know you're a little chilly, but I need to show our friends something. Mr. Anton was on a directional piece of paper, okay? Let me see if I can find a piece just to illustrate what I'm talking about. And I probably have a piece in here. Let me grab it out. Okay. And you can see that the back of the piece of paper that I'm using is directional, but I just want to give you an example that is not glued on. Let's see. Okay, here's one. All right, this is directional. If you are in the mood to have Mr. Anton or Miss Charlene have a body where the writing and all of the designs are facing in different directions, that's fine. Just glue any which way you like. But if you want all of the body parts to kind of match up and all look like they're going in the same direction, like Mr. Anton's body, you can see all of the writing is facing in the same direction. You're going to need to be conscious of the way you glue your pieces down. What I would suggest is take your piece of paper, flip it over, and remember that this is the top, and this is the bottom, and these are the sides. And when you start gluing your pieces down, glue them all going from the top facing down to the bottom. Do I have a piece left? No, but I will just show you with Mr. Anton. In other words, you want his lower arm and his hand to be facing in the same direction that the paper is going. All right? If you have any questions about that, I will be more than happy to answer them. You can leave me a comment, and I will do my best to explain it better. Okay, so now I have all of my pieces glued down to my decorative cardstock, and I am going to go and I'm going to cut them all out, and I'll be back in a second to show you how to put little Miss Charlene's body together. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. I have cut out all of my pieces after I've had them glued down. You can see I have my upper arm and my lower arm. Okay. I have my upper leg and my lower leg. And I have my torso. Now, if you remember, I had you glue your torso facing down on the patterned paper. See how we labeled everything here? And we don't see it here? I'm going to show you why now. Here's your patterned paper. I keep calling her Darlene, and I named her Charlene. Miss Charlene is now going to line up perfectly onto the patterned paper. That's why it was important to reverse your torso, because if you hadn't, your pattern would have been facing on this side, and Miss Charlene would not match up with her body. Okay? You can also see, hopefully, that I've gone around and I've inked all my edges. I used my Ranger Archival ink in potting soil. Okay? So I inked her body and her legs and her arms. Oh my goodness. Her feet and her hands, okay? They've all been inked around on the edges. And I have also gone along and I have inked Charlene on all of her edges. You don't need to ink. It's just something I like to do, so I ink. I do want to tell you two things that I realized while I was watching the other parts of the video back to make sure that this was all actually making sense and that it wasn't going to make you run away from trying this. It really is simple. You need a hole punch. Now, I have a teeny tiny hole punch, and I don't even know, let's see if I grab the paper, if you can see how small that little hole is. I think I got this at Michael's and or at Hobby Lobby. I will try to search one up on Amazon, and I'll link it in the description box below. But it really is a little teeny tiny punch, okay? And it will create for you these little teeny tiny holes. Whoop, just dropped my arm. So you're going to need a hole punch. You could use a standard size hole punch. I guess I don't think that there would be any problem, just so long as the head of your paper fastener is not going to slide through the hole. You could even take your awl and poke a hole through. That would be fine too. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about the size of your hole punch, or even if you have one, okay? The other thing I did neglect to tell you was we created our dolls using a separate hand that was separated from the lower part of our arm. You don't have to do that. You could skip this step and not have a separate hand. if you wanted to draw your arm, including your hand, all in one piece. And let me just move this out of the way, and I will show you very quickly how you would do that. Yeah, I'll just do it on here. Okay. What you do, and I'll do it right next to this one, and let me bring you down just a smidgen more, okay? Please don't get seasick, okay? That might help a little bit. You're just going to take and you're going to create an oval again, like so. Bring it down, okay? A rounded top. And you're going to bring it down on both sides, like so. And in lieu of creating a separate hand, you're just going to round out your hand and bring it almost all the way back. And you're going to create your little thumb coming off of your wrist, because this area would be your wrist right here, okay? So you can make your arm like that. You can also do the same thing with your leg. Now, if you see here, I made a rounded top. I brought my sides down, okay? Bring it down on this side as well. And then I went straight down, like so, to create the ankle, which is this part here. I rounded out the back, brought it down, made my heel, brought it up, rounded, made my flat foot, the sole of my shoe, rounded out again, and brought my toe over. Okay, so you can make the lower arm and the hand one piece, and the lower leg and the foot one piece. That is what I did. And let me grab it again. Grab her over here. Whoops. All my little pieces of paper are falling apart here. That's what I did for Miss Rose, okay? Her lower arm and her hand are one piece. But when I moved along and I made Mr. Anton, I decided to create a movable hand, and so that's why I showed you how to do that as well, okay? This video is getting very, very long, and I'm beginning to think I should have done it in 2 parts, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about that. Now, as you can see, I have put one of my arms together along with my hand, okay? My upper arm, my lower arm, and my hand, okay? And I've done the same for my leg, all right? And you can see my little foot moves back and forth. I'll show you how to attach the foot, but I will also show you how to attach the button if that's what you decide you want to do. If you want your doll to have feet like Miss Rose instead of having feet like Mr. Anton. All right? Now, what you're going to do, okay, and this is really a lot simpler than it seems, is you're going to take your upper arm and your lower arm. And this is going to work the same way for your leg. You're going to take your hole punch. This is the top of your upper arm. This is the bottom of your upper arm. And you're going to center your arm into your hole punch. Maybe I'll do it this way. And you're just going to go a little bit down from the top. All right, I'll make a mark with my pencil just so you can see what I'm doing, okay? I'm going to put a hole in my upper arm just a little bit down from the top. Can you see that pencil mark? It's right there, okay? So I'm going to take my hole punch, and I'm going to make a punch, and I'm going to make a hole just a little bit down from the top, okay? Then what I'm going to do, because we need to attach our lower arm to our upper arm, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, And I'm just going to make a hole punch. I'm going to mark it with the pencil a little bit up from the bottom of my upper arm. Okay? Like so. All right. So now you have a hole in the top of your upper arm and a hole in the bottom of your upper arm. Now, we're going to do the same thing on our lower arm. Okay? I'm going to make a little pencil mark, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to make a hole a little bit down from the top of my lower arm and a little bit up from the bottom of my lower arm. Okay? You can see the little pencil marks, I hope. Okay? I'm going to go on, and I'm going to make my hole. Now, if you have a larger hole on your hole punch, you may have to adjust these locations to accommodate the larger hole. But basically, that's what you're going to do. A hole on the top, a hole on the bottom. Now you're going to grab your paper fastener. You could also use string. I have not done that on a doll yet, but I guess that would be a great way to kind of make like a raggedy kind of doll, you know, that just kind of swung around. But I've been using the paper fasteners because I wanted my dolls to be semi-jointed. Okay, now you're going to put your paper fastener through the upper hole of your lower arm and through the lower hole of your upper arm. Now, is that a tongue twister or not? Okay, you put your paper fastener through, and you're going to bend out the little arms of your paper fastener, and you're going to attach your upper arm and your lower arm together. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your hand, and again, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to make a hole a little bit down from the top of your hand, the wrist, okay? And I'm going to make my little hole. Okay? You see the little hole in the hand? You're going to grab another paper fastener and you're going to put it through and attach your hand. Make sure your thumb is facing in the right direction. Okay? You're going to attach your hand to your lower arm. All right? That's my anatomy lesson for this portion of the video. Okay. So now you should have, I didn't push my paper fastener in far enough. You'll have a set of arms that look like that. Okay? Or in the case of Rose, your hands might already be attached to your lower arm, and that's good for you. You're going to do the same thing with your leg, okay? You're going to put a hole in the upper portion. I'm skipping the pencil marks. You're going to put a hole in the top of your upper leg, a hole in the bottom of your upper leg, and you're going to do the same thing with your lower leg. I'm going to put a hole. Now you can see why I said that this is pretty easy. And you're going to put another hole. All right. Oh, I made my hole in the wrong place. I'm just going to make another hole, and we're not going to worry about it. Okay. I think I must have hit some glue. All right. Charlene has 2 holes in her leg. Not going to worry about it. Okay. Now, we're going to attach our lower leg. Like so. Put the paper fastener through the upper hole of the lower leg. Put the paper fastener through the lower hole of the upper leg. Okay? And of course I have one that is bent. Okay. So now we have our lower leg and our upper leg attached. Okay. Miss Charlene has a war wound. Now, in the event that you have created a shoe like I have, and you want to attach your shoe, what you're going to do is you're going to make a hole up here on her little ankle. And so I'm just going to take my hole punch and I'm going to put a hole in the ankle portion of her shoe. Now to attach it, again, you would put a paper fastener through the shoe and through the leg. Basically very simple. But I promised I would show you what to do with your button. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of my embroidery floss and cut a piece off, and it will probably, almost assuredly, be bigger than what I need. And you're going to take and you're going to slide your embroidery floss through the hole on the lower portion of your leg, okay, like so, and bring it through. And then you're just going to very simply put your string through one of the holes on your button. Whoop. Let me cut this piece off because I shredded it and now it won't go through my button. I'm going to put it through from the back. Okay, and you're going to have your button's going to lay like this. I reversed the way my strings go in, but it doesn't really matter. And then you're just going to simply tie a knot and tie another knot and tie your button on. Okay, I'm going to leave that loose like that because I will probably more than likely attach my shoe. But that's how you would add your button for your button feet. And I'm just going to take that and I'm going to put it aside. And because she has a shoe on one foot, I'm going to give her a shoe on the other foot. All right. So now you have all of your limbs put together like so. Let's push this through. And you can see that little hole that I made by accident really isn't too visible at this point. And so there we go. Okay. You may have to play with your paper fasteners if they're sticking out from behind your limbs and you don't really want them to do that. But there you go. You have 2 legs and 2 arms. Okay? We're going to put these just to the side for just a second. And now we're going to glue Miss Charlene to her body. All right? So I'm just going to grab out my glue. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to show you in this video because it's already tipping the scales at over an hour. I may come back and do a part 2 and show you how I created the clothing. And I may even get brave and do some sewing on video for you so that we can dress our dolls. And so, yeah, we're just going to attach Miss Charlene to her body. Okay? And you can see that her arm is a little bit above the arm that we created with the paper. That's okay. You can leave it like that, or you can be fussy and you can trim it off. It's up to you. I may just shove mine down and trim a little up here by her shoulder. So now we have her body. And now we want to give her her legs and her arms. Okay? See? It all comes together in the end. So now you want to take your legs and you want to kind of measure out on her body. Oops, sorry, I hit you. Where you want her legs to go. Because she's your doll, you can decide what you want, however you want her to look. All right? Now you do have your holes that you already created using your hole punch in the upper portion of your leg. So once you've decided where you want her legs to be And I kind of like them there. I'm going to take my pencil again, and I'm going to go through the hole that we punched, and I'm going to make a pencil mark. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing on her other leg. Again, make a pencil mark through her leg. Okay, and you can see the pencil marks there. Again, you're going to take your hole punch, and you're going to punch a hole, and you're going to punch a hole. Okay? And then we're going to grab our paper fasteners, and we're just going to attach her legs. Okay? Very quickly. Yeah, I think it might be better if I do dressing the doll in a separate video. All right, and just push those legs down. Okay. And again, this part might be boring, but I do want to show you how cute your little doll's going to look after you make her. All right. Okay. And so there you go. You have your legs. Okay. And you can see she's not by any way, shape, or form anatomically correct, but it's a doll. Okay, now you're going to take your arms and you're going to attach them to the upper part of your body. And again, like I said, if this was a normal, I don't like using that word. If this was an actual human being, you would want your thumbs to fall just below your tush, about midway down the upper portion of your legs. So you can do it that way. You can put her arms anywhere you want. I'm just going to kind of line them up the way they should be. And I'm going to make a pencil mark through that hole that we created. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I do kind of want to line her arms up with the outer edge of her pre-made shoulders. And I'm just going to make a pencil mark. Okay. And there you have them. Okay. Hopefully you can see that on there. And again, I'm going to take my hole punch. I'm going to punch a hole on one side. I'm going to punch a hole on the other side, like so. If you were using your awl, just remember to put a piece of paper or some thick cardboard under your awl, or even a piece of wood. I don't want you to make holes in your desk. And so now we have our holes, and we're going to attach our arms. If I can get the paper fastener through the hole. Okay. We're going to turn it over. We're going to open the arms of our paper fastener. Okay. And we have one arm attached. Again, you can turn your paper fastener so that it's hidden behind your doll. And we're going to take the other paper fastener and we're going to put it through the upper part of her arm. And we're going to put it through her torso, like so. Open up the arms on the paper fastener. And there you have your doll. Okay? She is by no means anatomically correct. She's not meant to be. Okay? I will come back and I will show you how to create paper clothing. I may even give you a quick lesson on how to create fabric clothing. But here are our dolls. I don't know where Elsbeth went. Elsbeth! Here she is. There you have them. There are our paper dolls. Charlene, Anton in his fancy pants, Miss Dahlia in her beautiful flowing lace dress. Rose, who is now naked, but here is her skirt. And Elsbeth in her paper skirt. Okay? I'm going to go away for now. I'm going to send you lots of love and big hugs and ask you that if you actually sat through this, to please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And I will come back. I will try to get it done today. And I will show you how to create the paper clothing. And if I can do it quickly, I will show you how to create the fabric clothing. Okay? Bye for now. Love and hugs. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching. Please try it. It's not that hard. Okay? I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.